Alright, get yourself settled. From now on, we make our magazines right over here. Oh my god, this is our new place where we make the magazine. We have 2 monitors. You know what we can do with 2 monitors? We can have one monitor set to have like the actual image we're editing, and then the other monitor set we can have the image that we plan on replicating, so that we can just do this so much faster. Also, how do you get that thing on your nose there? That's unexpected. Forgot to ask her. You want to know how I got this here? I fell. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just fairly clumsy. It's not the usual of me. I just fell and got this. Nice day today, isn't it? Also, you do say, huh? Ah. Ah. Anyways, man, when do we start? I forgot to ask that too. Anyways, don't get too comfortable here. Remember, we're not just here to make magazines. I mean, we are. But the boss here of our company, he said he wants us to meet a criteria. He wants us to increase our skill of producing. So we had to prove to him that we are doing better than we used to do. I don't know what else to say. We just got to show him. Yeah. Alright, well, can you give me like an introduction or something then? Because you always seem to be acquainted to it. Alright, so look. If we go over here, alright? Look, you see this right here? You see this first magazine that we made here, this cover? Well, remember when you made that one with the font? Yeah, that was terrible. We actually do go all the way down to here in our progress. You would notice it. It's this one. You see this? Remember when you were trying to make fonts by yourself using what even is it's a lines? And what is this murdering the track? Look at down here. If you go even further down, I guess this was another one you tried to make, but I guess it's not over here, huh? You go to even the final cover revisions. Let's see what you had then. Oh look, you added a little bit more, but look at how terrible these were. We got feedback from our consumers saying that they were too many like fonts being used, and they looked too like cartoonish for like this serious of a matter. All right, this was good, but everything else, and also there was like no line spacing. How could you have done no line spacing? So I had to step in, of course, and come up with this. I had to add in a bunch of line spacing. I had to add in the text here, the setting line, and add in this over here. So then you also have this, and there's a lot of space. You notice that? And also look at how much more noticeable it is to like read these, alright? That's because I added an outline. I noticed that was a feature in Canva, so I just went with it. Oh yeah, and also, notice how I'm always on each of these covers, even on this one, on this 2-page spread, I'm the one who's on the cover. If you even went to the TOC, if we can find that, I am the one who's on the TOC. You know what? Let me just let's go outside. I gotta show you something. Let me just tell you something. As you may have noticed, in the first one, the cover, I did not include my name Artillery enough in it. It was very outshadowed by the Eminem name, the Dr. Dre name, and the Snoop Dogg name. Even the Billie Eilish and the Travis Scott, and even the Kanye West name. The Artillery, it was the main focus of the magazine, but it wasn't really expressed like that. So I decided in the TOC and the 2-page spread that would all change. You will remember my name, or I am not the one who you will just see in the background of a magazine. No, I am the one on the front. I was the one who was on top of the cover. I was the only one who was in the table of contents, and I was the only one who was on the 2-page spread. I am the one you remember. And in terms of that, I had to make sure you remembered my name, Artillery, because that was all you were going to see. You see this? I basically replicated this. You see how it's future? I did that, but for me. Anyways, now that I've got that out of my system, when it came to planning all this stuff, it was simple. I continued to make sketches like these for my 2-page spread, and I even received feedback from the people who looked at the magazine as it was being in production. And there was one gigantuous issue. Notice the table of contents here. It looks perfectly fine right now. But in this image that's about to flash on your screen, do you notice anything wrong with it? That's right. The product was too jaggedy in the image. It was so terrible, in fact, that almost all of the feedback that I received had mentioned it. I think there was only like one feedback in total out of the 6 that said anything other than just the jagged image, and it just said something about basically lowering the amount of text. But so I decided I had to really find out how to unjagger the image, and so I did. After using Pixlr for a while, I discovered that there was a way that I can use masking to basically delete everything that was over it, so it got rid of the jaggedness that was as a result of the darkening, which I used on Pixlr. Which, by the way, I think I was getting better at. Notice how this lighting is pretty decent now. And then, now let's go back to this, because now we're on a 2-page spread. Like I said, I even did sketches over the TOC, but I just lost those sketches by now. But anyways, when it went to the 2-page spread, I had already made a color scheme for the table of contents, so I decided beforehand why not use the same thing. It worked well for the first, so that's exactly what I did. After setting up the canvas so it looks like 2 pages, I noticed something in Pixlr after I had set my image to be me in a kneeling pose. I noticed this component. It was called drop shadow, and what it essentially did is it added this little big shadow here onto my figure. And this was such a revelation because now I could cover like most of the page other than just this amount. And I didn't have to have like basically a big wide image, which probably wouldn't even fit. So that was very useful. So by now I decided, all right, I wrote an article beforehand. So first of all, I decided how am I gonna fit this article in? After I got my image, I put down my image somewhere and then I put in the article. I think I set it to like 11, the size 11, maybe 12 for part of it, but basically I had to find somehow to fit it all into a 2-page spread with how much I wrote. So inevitably I did, and I had to make it go over the guy so it didn't just go through him. That was pretty easy. I just had to add a space every time I went over here. And that's essentially how I made this. In terms of research, my research didn't get easier because other than just like researching broad topics, like very specific topics like music magazines, I just went into color scheme, and there was much more research on resources to look for on color schemes than there were for specifically music magazines. So I applied all that knowledge, and in the end, these are the results. And like I said, my darkening also got better, and I also had to use a skill I learned earlier of removing jaggedness so that this didn't look jagged. And in the end, this is really how my skill developed.